Alright, welcome back to part 2. I know I may have lost some bosses along the way, but I thought I would only show the main ones, since I don't think there would be too many people interested in watching a very poor performance gameplay. But I said I would do it, so I kinda want to finish the game like this now. This being my first playthrough, by the way. And if you're watching me do this in 10 FPS, I want you to know that I appreciate your time, and I hope that you somewhat enjoy the laggy gameplay. Now, here with Rennala, I didn't really have that much of a hard time. First phase was never a problem, it was only a matter of slapping those little ones, and then beating the crap out of a defenseless sleeping woman. Yeah, some of you might enjoy that. But the second phase is where I had a teeny weeny bit of trouble, you could say. It took me about 5 tries to get it done, and what was the most annoying thing was that she kept summoning those ghosts and my lockdown would be gone. And I would just end up running around like a moron in a different direction. But, however, in the last try she only did that once, somehow. She instead seemed to quite enjoy throwing crystals and glowing orbs at me, and pretending to be a toned down Goku with that Kamehameha spell thingy. That one, the slashing sword boomerang kind of stuff. It was weird, but it was fine. It kind of makes me want to try out the magic build next. Maybe I will. Now with Loretta, I was actually surprised how easy this fight was. The one with that big red dog was actually harder because he kept jumping around all the time. But I suppose that I had some training with that knight at the start of the game, if you remember him. Except he did not have any magic swords that fly around and are annoying while you are trying to dodge the hits from a ghost, maniac, or spirit. Whatever it is. Because
that motherfucker back there is not real!
That being said, it was kind of an okay fight. The inputs were pretty bad at times due to the 10 FPS limit. That was the main enemy in this, really. Also, I need to say that I only turn it to 10 FPS when I record these boss fights, and I'm not crazy to just go around to roam the world in 10 FPS. That would just take a ridiculously long amount of time. Just like these fights are, which probably are 3 times as long as they need to be just because of the FPS. And also the reason that I am cutting them down, because otherwise it'd just be boring as hell. I mean, it already is boring as hell, but still, it would be a tiny less amount of boring. Okay, now for General Radahn, this asshole had me walking around in the desert in 10 FPS while he was shooting his big ass bow at me with purple lightning. It only took me 2 minutes to get up to him every time, and I have to say, just to get this out of the way now, I had over 40 tries with this bastard piece of crap. The hate I've gathered for this asshole is riding his shitty little horse. I mean, who does that? This isn't a freaking circus. What the hell is even that? And on top of that, the size of him just makes it so hard for me to figure out what sort of an attack he will use, that I ended up rolling around like a moron I am, most of the time, really. That being said, the first try was as good as any, trying to see what sort of move he has, and also trying to remember them. But then he pulls this purple crap out of his ass and slams me in the ground while covering his swords that were already huge in rock. And after a while, I think that things are going somewhat okay before he decides to haul ass while screaming and preparing a new attack that he did not use before, the electric grapes of shock, and obviously I tried to dodge them, but my input decided not to yet notice it. For whatever reason, because that's what happens when I do 10 FPS. For my 10th try, he again runs away, only for this time to come back at me while crashing down and leaving me confused, not knowing what happened. I jumped trying to evade his attack, but somehow it still hits me, because why not? I've only suffered 10 deaths so far, so what's one more? This was somewhere in the 40 to 50 range of trying at this point. But in the end, the pygmy horse rider managed to find some rocks in the friggin' desert, somehow. I suppose they were kidney stones, hence all that screaming. Then, upset that he missed, he tries to jump me yet again, and somehow I lost sight of him, in spite of how big he is. leaving me confused and finally showing me a new attack. Yay, what a surprise. And I start rolling in panic because I don't know if he's gonna crash in the ground again. However, his lame-ass twirl doesn't hit and I went in close and fucked up his knee. Yeah, that's what you get. I hate this boss. Can anyone confirm if it's as annoying in normal gameplay as it is in 10 FPS? I would appreciate it. Anyway, see you in the next one.